In a league that has long struggled for mainstream relevance, viewership, and sponsorship, the arrival of Caitlin Clark was supposed to be a new era, a turning point, a moment the WNBA had been waiting for, one where a generational talent could finally draw national attention, sell out arenas, and bridge the gap between casual sports fans and women's basketball. And in many ways, she did. But what no one expected was what would happen next. That instead of celebrating her, the league, the referees, and even some players would seemingly do everything in their power to tear her down. What we're seeing isn't just tough defense. It's not just growing pains. It's targeted. It's systemic. And most of all, it's dangerous, not just for Clark, but for the future of the league itself. This is the story of how the WNBA might be fumbling the biggest opportunity it's ever had. Caitlin Clark arrived to the WNBA with more hype than any player before her. After a historic college career at Iowa, where she shattered records, pulled in millions of viewers, and made women's college basketball must-watch TV, Clark was poised to bring that same magic to the pros. The Indiana Fever selected her with the first overall pick in the 2024 draft. Within days, ticket prices surged, merchandise sold out, TV networks scrambled to broadcast her games. Viewership numbers exploded. In just her first few weeks in the league, Caitlin Clark was already responsible for some of the highest WNBA ratings in history. Her presence brought in fans who had never watched a WNBA game before. Young girls wore her jersey. Adults tuned in because she made the game exciting, unpredictable, and fresh. She wasn't just a rookie, she was the WNBA's main event. Almost immediately, Clark became the target of unusually aggressive defense. We're not talking about intense competition or veteran welcome to the league moments. We're talking elbows to the face, hard blindside screens, fouls that somehow never get called, plays that leave Clark on the floor while the refs swallow the whistle. In a league that claims to champion women and protect its athletes, Clark's treatment has been alarmingly hostile. And it hasn't just been fans noticing. Prominent sports personalities, analysts, and even former players have begun to speak up. Charles Barkley called it flat out wrong. Shaquille O'Neal said, "The league should be protecting its stars, not letting them get battered." Countless commentators have questioned why the league's most marketable player is getting hacked on every play, while officials turn a blind eye. The message being sent: if you shine too bright, if you draw too much attention, if you dare to be great, you'll be punished for it. Let's break down one of the most talked about examples. In a game between the Indiana Fever and the Chicago Sky, Clark was running toward the baseline when she was shoulder-checked and thrown to the floor by Chennedy Carter. No basketball play, no attempt at the ball, just a cheap shot. Replay after replay showed the same thing. The contact was intentional. The message was clear. We don't want you here. And yet, no flagrant foul, no ejection, just a personal foul, and the game moved on. Clark got up, shook it off, and played on. But the damage was done, not just to her body, but to the league's credibility. That moment sparked a firestorm online. Fans flooded social media with outrage. Hashtags like #ProtectClark and #FreeCaitlin began trending. Videos of the foul went viral. News outlets ran with it. And here's the thing, it wasn't just Iowa fans. It wasn't just new WNBA viewers. Lifelong basketball fans, both men and women, were appalled. They didn't understand how a league so hungry for attention could allow its biggest star to be treated like this. So how did the WNBA respond? With silence, no statement, no fines, no suspensions, just vague comments about letting the players play and adjusting to physicality. Eventually, days later, Carter's foul was upgraded to a flagrant one, but by then the moment had passed. The damage, both physical and reputational, was already done. The league appeared reactive, not proactive, and that's a problem. Let's talk about officiating, because this goes deeper than just one or two missed calls. In multiple games, Clark has been fouled on shot attempts with no whistle. Opposing players are allowed to bump, elbow, and body check her in ways that other stars simply aren't subjected to. When her coach, Stephanie White, attempted to challenge a crucial non-call, she was denied because she didn't have the right kind of timeout left. That's not just a rules issue, that's a structural flaw that prevents accountability. Clark's not the only one speaking up. Fellow players like A'ja Wilson and Breanna Stewart have alluded to inconsistencies in how games are called. Some even acknowledged that Clark was taking too many hits. And it's not just physicality, it's the tone. When Clark questions calls, she's often met with eye rolls or dismissiveness from officials. She's a rookie, yes, but she's also the league's most valuable asset. Treating her with open disdain doesn't just hurt her, it hurts the game. There's an unspoken undercurrent here too. Clark is a white player in a predominantly black league, and while many avoid this conversation out of discomfort, it's one that exists beneath the surface. Some fans believe Clark is being targeted, not just because she's good, but because she represents something different, a different style of play, a different media narrative, a different cultural identity. And when that's combined with her success, it creates resentment. Is all the criticism racially motivated? But is race part of the conversation? Absolutely. Ignoring that reality only deepens the divide. Another factor, media coverage. ESPN and other networks love Clark. She's good for ratings. She moves the needle. But this love has created resentment among veteran players who feel overlooked. Some players feel like they've been grinding for years without the same spotlight. So when Clark arrives and gets wall-to-wall coverage, it stings. And unfortunately, that resentment sometimes manifests on the court. But here's the truth. Marketing isn't about fairness. It's about results. And Clark is delivering them. If the WNBA doesn't act and fast, it risks not just losing Clark, but alienating the new audience she brought with her. Injuries will pile up. Frustration will build. Fans will tune out. And all that progress gone. The league cannot afford to mishandle this moment. Because this isn't just about Caitlin Clark, it's about the WNBA's willingness to protect its stars, embrace its future, and rise to the occasion. Clark's presence has lifted not just her team or the WNBA, but the entire sport. College viewership records have spilled over into the pros. Brands that previously ignored the WNBA are now signing sponsorship deals. Ticket scalpers are making money on games for the first time in years. That momentum can't be ignored, but it also can't be taken for granted. If Clark decides this isn't worth it, if she burns out or feels unprotected, the backlash won't just be a PR issue. It'll be a financial disaster. This is about more than basketball. It's about how we treat game changers. So where does the WNBA go from here? It starts with leadership, clear guidelines, consistent officiating, protecting players, not shielding them from criticism, but protecting them from harm. The league must recognize that Clark's success is everyone's success. It must also foster unity. Players need to feel respected regardless of how long they've been in the league. Veterans deserve recognition. Rookies deserve fairness. That balance is hard but essential. If they get it right, the WNBA could finally reach the heights it's always dreamed of. If this situation continues, we might witness more than just the fallout of one star's mistreatment. We may see a shift in how future players evaluate joining the WNBA. Will top-tier college athletes choose different sports or even go overseas to avoid what Caitlin Clark is enduring now? There's also the question of media trust. If new fans see their favorite player routinely targeted, bruised, and brushed off without league accountability, they'll leave. The stakes are that high. This moment isn't just about the present, it's about preserving the future. Caitlin Clark doesn't need special treatment. She doesn't need a different set of rules. She just needs fairness. She needs what every player deserves, a level playing field. Because if the WNBA wants to grow, if it wants to survive, if it wants to thrive, it has to protect the people who make that possible. And right now, no one is doing more for the WNBA than Caitlin Clark. If you agree, drop a comment below. Share this video. Make your voice heard. Because silence enables abuse. And Caitlin Clark deserves better. Protect Caitlin Clark. Protect the game. If you found this breakdown important, smash the like button, subscribe for more in-depth coverage, and click the video on screen for our full WNBA breakdown. We'll see you next time.